Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having a fantastic day. As always, you leaving a like, when you leave a comment, all of these things do help out the channel and are very much appreciated. And without further ado, let's jump right into it because we have a lot to cover. The US Federal Reserve has, as expected, raised the federal funds rate by 75 basis points on Wednesday, and it was the largest increase since 1994. According to the Fed's members' expectations, the central bank will likely add another 1.5 percentage points by this year's end. So, it finally happened. The rate hike that we've been talking about for a number of weeks has finally taken place. There was an expectation that we were going to see a 0.5% rate hike, and now we have seen a 0.75% rate hike. I think the next expected rate hike is supposed to happen sometime in July, and apparently there are supposed to be many other little ones taking place across the rest of the year, as well as we keep getting news from the Federal Reserve that they see inflation as being too high, and they are going to try and do what they can at least in the near term. As a lot of this took place, we began to see, it says Powell calls Fed 0.75 rate increase unusually large, warns of a slowing economy. We are on the cusp of something, I don't want to use the word terrible, but you catch my drift. There's just far too much happening at one time. Between conflicts happening around the world, countries closing themselves off to other countries, supply chain issues, inflation, 19 still being around and floating around in the air for those of you who did not know that, and numbers of that are also going back up again. And I implore you in a way to actually look further into that, because there's now rumors once again of similar activities where people could not leave their domiciles happening once again around October and November in certain parts of the planet. That's the nicest way that I could actually phrase it. So this was a larger increase than was expected, simply because the world appears to be crumbling and inflation is not helping. They've been asking, I've seen a lot of, not many documentaries, but just kind of news videos, if you will, of people asking other people on the street or other, whatever, what they think about inflation. And everyone kind of is expecting it to continue to keep rising, regardless of what the Fed might actually be doing, because we keep seeing inflation rising in other countries as well. And interest rates don't seem to be able to really stop that, at least not in the near term / this year. It says Bitcoin dips and then recovers as Fed unleashes biggest rate bump in 28 years. Yeah, as is to be expected, we saw a bit of a relief rally, which I, once again, am not psychic, but I've been through all of this before. Not a Fed rate hike, if you will, but more so, we are very closely tangled with the stock market. For some reason, every single time that there is the mention of a rate hike, prices begin to fall. But on the day of the actual rate hike, once it has taken place, prices in the stock market begin to move back up once again. And as they moved back up, guess what? The cryptocurrency market did the exact same thing. It says Ethereum recovers by 6%. Why the 100 SMA is the key for upsides? It's not. Absolutely not. Stop looking at all these charts. Stop looking at all these things. There is no actual indication as to exactly where everything is going to go. We are at the whim and the mercy of the world stock markets right now. And if they continue to fall, especially as we are seeing supply chain issues, I don't know if people have seen the videos of people showing their local supermarkets and how sparse they currently are. The cryptocurrency market will fall. Do not be mistaken. We will fall if other markets are falling as well. A lot of people are kind of looking at charts in some sort of way, talking about we can't move below these daily averages. We can't move below those. Don't forget that we got to a $200, $300 Ethereum back in, 2020. And Bitcoin was also I think, wasn't Bitcoin around $3,000 as well? Like, the opportunity for us to continue falling is always there. It's just a matter of how world markets are going to react to other worldly events and exactly how we're going to go along for the ride. This pump up in price that we're seeing, this little relief rally, as I'm going to call it, before the actual next interest rate hike actually ends up coming through. And world markets might have already even pre-priced that in with tons of panic and the falling stock market prices as well. We will be able to definitely see over the course of the next 4 weeks, 2 weeks later, how we're doing exactly if our prices are moving up, because once again, the correlation is just there. I would have liked to have believed a long time ago that we were not correlated with world markets, but there's no actual exception. On top of that, one of the popular major, price news stories of the day, there actually are a couple of coins that seem to be doing this. I don't know if it's a decoupling per se, but there are a lot of coins that even before we had this mini relief rally in Bitcoin and Ethereum, these coins were already going up. I think a lot of coins have major upgrades. I think there are a lot of people who are into these projects. I think a lot of people, even behind the scenes, let's be realistic with ourselves, are probably buying up these coins. Prices being down are a gigantic price opportunity for people, not financial advice, for people who see these prices as incredibly low, which we're also going to talk about in a couple of seconds as well. There's a very interesting wave of news that was released basically going on, wow, look how low this is, from multiple people. It says Cardano's decoupling sets it out for a massive bull rally as pundits envision a $10 ADA price. $10 per Cardano has been talked about for a number of years. Even in the very beginning, I mean, the idea was coins that have billions in circulation. People went over the numbers around 2017 and kind of came to the conclusion that a number of them could go over $1. And then part of the discussion was, could this coin hit $3 to $5? Absolutely. Could this coin then hit $10 if there was actual usage? A lot of you might remember this from the XRP conversations that a lot of people were having back then, where I wholeheartedly believed we were going to see a $5 to $10 XRP around 2017. We got to $3.60. Part of the air quotes problem that happened there was that XRP became the number 2 coin and flipped Ethereum. And I think if XRP had doubled again in price, it would have passed by Bitcoin. But I'm sure somebody just folded their arms and they were like, that the Bitcoin whales and Bitcoin visionaries could not let that happen. So that's around the time when the entire discussion of an unregistered security began to pop up for XRP, and Coinbase refused to list it. A lot of corruption and manipulation in the cryptocurrency space. The conversation that we're having now is Cardano hit $3 before the last upgrade and before this next upgrade, which is supposed to be coming in the next couple of days. And before we had hundreds, I think maybe 1,000 projects on top of Cardano now. So therefore, if the momentum is there, if they have this and they have a stable coin on top of them and they have DeFi and they have all these other protocols and people begin to burn their Cardano and yada, 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 ends up happening, could during this upcoming bull rally that everyone's kind of expecting right now to begin to start taking place, could we then see a $10 Cardano? I think absolutely. I don't think there's much really holding back Cardano. I think in a way, cryptocurrency market cycles are very fast, very intense. We're going through one right now. Cardano and many other coins have kind of proven themselves in a way by not only sticking around, but remaining in the top 10, top 15 amount of coins. It says a lot about a coin and its usage and its people, community thereof. When we go through a terrible market cycle and things are collapsing and this coin kind of remains in the exact same spot price-wise where it's been for a very long time. But Cardano has been one of the coins that, while other altcoins are going up by 7%, 8%, Cardano's going up by around like 12% all the time. And therefore, this was, continuously made it into the news as a what if for Cardano's pricing. It says Bitcoin and Ethereum try to recover. Cardano, Solana, and Dogecoin rally. I'll say it every single day until someone gives me an exact answer, and I don't want an answer talking about hype, DeFi, NFTs, monkeys, rats, bears, whales, and all that other stuff. I still don't get why Solana continues to go up. It's almost as if people aren't paying attention to the fact that coin has had 8 problems this year, and I'm just saying it I'm actually hitting my leg as I'm saying it. I'm saying it in a very honest way. Okay, first of all, for those of you who don't know, I own crypto. Shocker, right? Kind of crazy. However, if any coin, and I will tell you that right now, I don't care if it's Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Cardano, what else do I have out there? I have some ApeCoin, all these other things. I'm telling you this right now. If Ethereum 8 times this year stopped working or had 51% attacks, I would no longer be holding Ethereum. I think a lot of people forget that 51% attacks are quite serious. It means that your network is constantly vulnerable, and there should be never a chance for your blockchain to be restarted or to restart all the nodes on the network. Or anyway, the point is, yeah, a lot of the and I say smaller cap altcoins in comparison to Bitcoin are rallying quite hard. You can tell that there's like a bit of a price shrinkage happening with Bitcoin and Ethereum from this little relief rally that we are seeing. But a lot of the altcoins are really hitting it hard. And it's just kind of nice to see coins in the green once again in general. Here's the really interesting part. Now, this title looks doomy and gloomy, but I found this and I added it into the video because my best friend, hello, sir, if you're watching, is, I think, quite intelligent when it comes to charts. For those of you not looking at the screen, it says almost every crypto asset is down over 90% from its peak. The reason I, once again, added this in is because, first of all, just a reality check for everyone out there. Not a, oh my gosh, prices are down 90%. It's more of a, during market cycles within the, now this is, I'm telling you, there's a lot to cover. There's so much going on at one time. During market cycles, I don't care which market that you're in, but more so in the cryptocurrency market, historically, we tend to get to anywhere between a 90 to 95% drop from the previous all-time high. And this is very important to look at because 99.9% of the time, the altcoins will not drop more than 95%. I was chatting with him the other day about crypto prices and where they're going, and we realized almost instantaneously we had the same, not similar, the same exact conversation about the cryptocurrency market exactly 2 years ago. Why was this happening exactly 2 years ago? Because Kakaroro 19 was, there. Everyone knew that it was, but it was June. It was really warm outside. And I remember we were talking about, look how low the prices are. Because remember, everything had collapsed. Stock markets, but also the cryptocurrency space. I mean, we were down. And everything was so low. And he took out his phone and he looked at the charts and was like, everything's down by like 90 something percent. He's like, you can't go down 100% unless your coin completely collapses. And that you might remember that was around the time, because I saw a lot of people re-mentioning it on Twitter recently. That was around the time when I began to talk about Cardano and a number of other coins. Remember when I was like, man, if we get a 1 cent Cardano again, I'm going to go completely insane, because I was going to be buying up as much as possible. And I think we got to a 6 or 7 cent Cardano. And I was like, maybe it's now the time to buy, not financial advice. But we were looking at the charts and he was like, everything is kind of also down by those same exact numbers once again. And the thing that typically takes place after is we began to move back up. We have officially, remember this was months ago when we were at a 32,000-esque or so Bitcoin. And we had a lot of analysts saying we have to hit the point of most pain. The idea being we have to liquidate everyone who has, the word's not options. I forgot It's also not derivatives. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. Leverage positions within the cryptocurrency market. The way that every market cycle in this market works is that someone behind the scenes starts moving prices up and down to their whim, and they liquefy, nice word, every single leverage position within the market to kind of get them completely out, because people are putting money on top of other money that other money thought that was going to happen to other money. But eventually, once we hit low enough, we start to see the uptick once again, and that's kind of the point in the charts where I think it's called like a disbelief portion of the market rally, where people see prices going back up, but we kind of assume that things are going to go back down. I've been, not intentionally, but it keeps popping up on my Twitter feed. The guy Plan B, he's showing his charts once again, and I think we are 2 months away from actually hitting we can't go any lower levels on his chart. And then from there, we kind of have this crazy uptick until the year 2024, 2025, where prices kind of peak and then once again fall back down once again. It's very fascinating. And this whole history repeating, history rhyming thing is very weird. It happens all the time. I can't be the only one who it keeps happening to. But it's fascinating to see, once again, these cycles just continuously reappearing. I myself personally, this is what I'm going to be doing for my portfolio. Do not follow anything that I do. I feel like prices are going to fall a little bit more. I feel like this isn't it. I feel like there's still a little bit more of a way that we have to go. I am, however, all revved up and ready to go to buy should prices continue falling, because these prices are extremely low, and I think they're personally going to be going a lot higher. But yeah, isn't that 90%? Like, think of that. Like, how far we've actually fallen in all that time. But even then, like, something about this cycle feels very, very different. There's not, maybe it's just in my corner, there's not as much like despair going on that we've seen previously before, because other market cycles, you could feel it in the air. Like, it was just kind of like really, really sad. Everyone's like really angry. This one feels like everyone's kind of like licking their chops, waiting for prices to fall a bit further so that they can buy more. Because I think a lot of people who are in the market have already been in the market for a while, and everyone's kind of just anticipating another leg up. I can't be the only one who's kind of feeling that way. I've seen all these crazy videos. Somebody made a video. Oh gosh, it was like I just lost $1 million, and it had like a sad thumbnail, and I was like, I also lost like high six figures, but I'm not sad over it. But whatever. Anyway, that's the assets are down by 90% from their peak news. It says Bitcoin at $20,000 could be the new bottom. This was said by a commodity expert. This is happening. This is the news that I was talking about. This is the Bitcoin looks extremely cheap right now. Cryptocurrencies definitely are at a super low price news. It says cheaper than it looks. Fidelity executive says Bitcoin undervalued and oversold. This was also said, I believe, by right here as well, by Raoul Pal. Raoul Pal says he may start buying crypto next week amid the market crash. Raoul Pal, who's one of the most popular people in the space, predicted the bottom in the crypto markets will be within the next 5 weeks. Once again, grain of salt that. I assume he's getting his idea from, in the next 4 to 5 weeks, we're going to have another rate hike by the Federal Reserve. And I'm expecting prices to start falling around that same time frame as well. Saying he may start buying heavily as early as next week. He compared the current bear market to the crypto plunge in 2014, while suggesting that the ongoing situation could be a 10x opportunity for investors. There's so much going on, and I'm trying to like fit all of it into the video and to tell you about everything, but I'm not in the mood to make like a 2-hour video about this entire, like, there's just so much going on as far as prices and anticipation of movement back up. Even within the stock market, there's so many analysts who are going on TV and are talking about it openly, talking about that they're expecting I don't want to say a swift recovery, but there will be a period of time where prices will simply be low. That's just how things will be. And then from there on, the opportunities to make money kind of like hyper present themselves, where every single person, I think it's just an unprecedented amount of greed that's within all markets right now, as I think we know what they're capable of. We've seen them hit these higher numbers. People are also not expecting or anticipating the Federal Reserve to raise rates forever. You can't do that. You can't have a complete stock market wipeout. There has to be a certain point where they go, okay, stop, we won't be doing this anymore. And they're going to have to start buying back securities and equities like they were doing before. Like remember all those $1 trillion purchases that they were doing? They're going to have to redo these. It's not that we can't have a stock market collapse. They won't allow it. A stock market collapse equals a housing market collapse. And when the housing market collapses, this revolution, you can't have these things in any country because people begin to lose their mind. So there has to be a we'll do this to stop that, but we have to go back to doing that regardless of what the other stuff is actually going on. We saw this during 2008, 2009. You don't save the people, you save the money. That's how the governments work. So this is kind of like they realized that they goofed up and made inflation way too high, but in the end, they're going to protect the companies and the institutions and the banks and the money before they actually end up helping the actual people. Not getting into, a little bit of a dark conversation, but you know how the world works. I'm tired of people pretending like they don't know what's happening. Every time I talk about some certain things, people are like, dude, you can't do that. I had a conversation with someone a week and a half ago, and I mean, I was completely red with anger in the face because it was along the lines of, I was trying to explain to them inflation, stock market falling, recession, depression, housing prices, all the things that are currently happening in the world and how they're just one gigantic perfect storm that we all knew was going to eventually happen. And I make sure not to mention cryptocurrencies to people anymore because the moment I do that, I just look like the biggest doofus to all of them. They go, oh, well, he's into crypto. He clearly has no idea what he's talking about. So I always keep that out of the equation. I was red with anger because I try to explain to people the realistic portion of life and how governments have always treated their people, how money always comes first before the actual population. And he was like, dude, that's so wrong to think about. Like, we have governments for a reason. Like, they're here to protect the people and help us. Like, they make wrong decisions sometimes, but it's because they're human. Like, they also don't know what they're doing. Like, in the end, they will protect us. And I was like, how old are you? How have you not experienced life? How have you not seen things taking place over the last 20 something, 30 odd years and really gone, they don't care about us? And once again, not trying to get into this crazy discussion, but you all know what I'm talking about. You understand like that there are priorities and we are not it. This is part of the reason why I think that crypto took off so much in 2020, because over the course of that year, I think people were like, oh, I got to look out for myself. You must have. And if you have not, do this today. Like this is your job for today. Watch videos on the retirement crisis, how low or how few, not enough money retirement funds have, the 401k crisis. What's the other one? Like all these things, all these retirement funds, even like the government backed ones, are running out of money. This isn't a tinfoil hat thing. Like we know that they are running out of money because the population continues to get older. There are people on our planet now who are over 100 years old, and that trend is expected to continue. Like the idea being, years ago, we were only expected to be around on the planet to around 70. If you got past 70, boy howdy, that is how did you do that? What were you eating? So you were expected to retire around 52, 55 years old, and they basically sent you to a farm and went, oh, isn't that nice? He's worked for us all these years, and he's going to get his pension for the next 15 years. That 15 years has now extended to about 40-something or odd years. So the younger people who are in the workforce have to pay for the older people, but the older population continues to get older and go into retirement age more and more every single day. Think about that. Every single day, more and more people are retiring and moving up there. So someone's going to have it next week. And then the week after that, it continues in this constant loop. There's just so much, like every single day, always in the news. And anyway, to finish off that entire thought of how low asset prices currently are, you can even see it on like a couple of charts on a lot of the price websites. You can go to like a from the all-time high view to see exactly how low that we are with a lot of the prices right now. And this is, I mean, 68%, 76%, 67%, 83%, 91%, 87%. I think we have a little bit further to go drop-wise, and then we should start seeing some movement back up. But once again, the last 2 years have been crazy. So no one actually knows what's going to happen, because once again, we could all be smacked in the face by something else that we also weren't expecting to take place, and prices may drop even further. I think Ethereum got to $1,030 or $40 last night or something like that. I'm still expecting an $800 Ethereum. We may not ever get there, but I'm still kind of feeling that way. Also in the news, it says hedge fund billionaire Anthony Scaramucci says his firm bought the carnage on Bitcoin and Ethereum. Skybridge Capital founder Anthony Scaramucci says his firm is still buying Bitcoin and Ethereum despite the crypto market crash. I wish people would stop writing despite the crash. This is not financial advice, typically buy when prices are low. You buy when prices are down by 90-something% because you know that this coin is going to continue to be around and it probably cannot go down any further. I don't know why there's this. It's not even a trend. It's been going on for years. Whenever whales buy, people are like, despite the price crash, whales are still buying. If this company bought, in a surprising turn of events, this company is still buying crypto even with prices low. Why? Why are people writing that every single day? I don't get it. In a new interview with CNBC, the hedge fund veteran says the current crypto market downtick reminds him of March 2000 when internet stocks were cratering. He notes many of the internet stocks went to zero, but a few of the gems like Amazon survived and went on to clock massive gains. Okay, whatever. We're going to talk about it. I think there's something coordinated happening in crypto right now. It's not the everyone giving a time frame as to when they think exactly we are. Over the course of the last couple of years that I've been in the cryptocurrency space, there's always been coins that have disappeared or have fallen to actual zero. But I mentioned to all of you before, these coins were garbage from the get-go. They had no actual usage. These coins were going to go to zero because no one's using them. The flip side of that is a lot of the coins that are having problems right now are actually very popular coins. Okay, everyone take their tinfoil hat and put it onto one of your ears, whichever one. It's not a complete on top of your head kind of moment, but it's definitely doesn't it seem a little weird that all these protocols, all the major protocols are having problems? Doesn't it seem a little weird that all the stable coins are now depegging? A friend of mine, I don't think he watches the channel, but hello to you if you were out there, was messaging me last night and was like, Did everyone forget that JP Morgan Chase is trying to make their own stablecoin? Did everyone forget that there are tons of banks and hedge funds and institutions who are also trying to make their own coins as well? How has no one put two and two together to think, isn't it? Because there's also, I think there's, some news about it. A little weird that Terra Luna collapsed based off of not explicitly something that happened within their protocol, but because people knew exactly how much money they had to take out of the system to actually crash the prices. Celsius having a problem right now. There's rumors of something also going on with Uniswap. A lot of the stable coins depegging. I've been through about, I think, 3 or 4 different crypto cycles. I think this is the third one with stable coins in it. We've crashed massively before, even at the beginning of 2020, and stablecoins didn't depeg. We had DeFi floating around in the space, but there were no protocol issues. It feels like, remember when I was talking about before, why are people still using banks? And my discussion was, if you go to a bank and the bank tells you, give us your money, we will give you interest rate. And the interest rate is around 0.01%. Like, it's always less than a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of 1%. And we talk about that in context with the idea of inflation being 8 or 9%. However, you look at a bunch of these stable coins, and I mean like the really popular stable coins, they can give you 4%, 7%, sometimes even 12%. How would you feel as a bank who's had control over the monetary system for the last 150 years if someone came out of nowhere, created something digital that mimics the usage of the US dollar online, but your hand was not in that pot? That's what I kept on saying about Tether for all these years. I was like, it's really weird that we keep getting Tether hate, even though they keep showing how much they have in their reserves. They keep showing this. They keep having audits. They keep having all this other stuff. But there are still places and websites and institutions and banks who are talking about that all these things are dangerous. Dangerous to who and dangerous to what? To the old system. To the system that they control, that they want control. Why do you think all these corporations and all these banks and institutions have gotten into the cryptocurrency space? How would you feel as a hedge fund who got into Bitcoin or Ethereum years ago? You made some really good money, some incredibly good money. Somebody made a coin that you didn't think of making, because a lot of the stablecoin makers weren't, at least to my knowledge, gigantic entities in the beginning. They had a couple million. They made a coin online. It kind of stuck. They got funding from the background. They grew into where they currently are right now. Wouldn't it make a lot more sense that banks and governments have an incentive to crash these protocols and destroy them and then simply launch their own coins? Remember the day of the Terra Luna stablecoin crash, about I have videos of it. Like when I came back after my break, that all these countries were like, stable coins bad, stable. And it's like, why are all stable coins terrible right now? Why did every other stable coin depeg around that same exact day? There's something a lot bigger going on that I think we will probably never know the full extent of, but it's definitely taking place right now. As a bank who controls everyone's money around the world and the movement of money, you want your own stablecoin. But you can't compete with the other larger stable coins because you're missing out on all the money. You as JP Morgan or another bank, you don't want to go to Tron. You don't want to go to Circle Coin or to Terra stable coin and say, hey, can we have a stake in the coins you're doing? No, you would. Now, once again, tinfoil hat is still on your heads. You would do everything you can in your power to depeg all these things, to tell everyone exactly how terrible they are, because the news is still floating around. There's also another coin, another stable coin, which also isn't doing well right now. Isn't it weird that it's all happening right now when all these banks are trying desperately to get into the cryptocurrency space? Or we've had rumors of them making their own stable coins, and not a central bank digital currency. We've been having rumors that the central bank digital currencies will come from the actual central banks of said countries. However, banks themselves apparently have a thumbs up or a bit of a go ahead to make their own stablecoins that will simply interact within their own systems as well. So much going on. There's far too much happening at the exact same time. I think we're just witnessing the part of the story where anyone from the beginning who didn't play ball is being obliterated. And I mean absolutely blown out of the water. This is why even like when the idea of the Wyckoff chart that we had a year and some change ago, I mean, going exactly to how the chart was, like the actual Wyckoff chart. It's an indication that the big boys are here. They're in the system, and it's basically theirs at this point. They do what they want. If you find out that you can create something that mimics the US dollar or the pound or the yen, you want it, but you are not willing to play ball with the other people who also have it. That's why I was so shocked over the idea that the Winklevoss twins were being sued by someone. They've played ball since the very beginning. Someone said something behind closed doors that got someone very upset, and that's where they just currently are right now. Once again, I told you there was a lot to cover, and I'm trying to skim it down as much as I possibly can because I could go on for hours about this because something seems a little off in the entirety of this system. It says biggest Bitcoin whale in existence in accumulation mode has bought another $20 million worth of Bitcoin. Not surprising. This website even says it right here in the text around here. They bought up all that Bitcoin despite bearish price movements. I don't know who these people are. I can't figure it out for the life of me. I'm going to say it this way, in a very nice way, not condescending. If you're new here, cool, amazing, hello, welcome, love you. Now tell me, did you not know that the opportune time to buy was during a bear market? You can be completely honest. No one knows who you are. It's just a message on the actual comment section. Were people unaware that entities buy up things when prices are low? One of the greatest, and I mean the greatest examples that I can think of this is Detroit. If you're not in the States, Detroit is a city that was very big, very popular. I think they were known for making automobiles in the 50s, 60s. That's about it. Maybe early 70s, somewhere around there. Around the 80s and 90s, wasn't doing too hot. I dare even say terrible. Around the year 2000, it was known as one of the most poverty-stricken places in the United States. Like it didn't look too good. When we had the housing crash in 2008, 2009, housing prices there, this is not a joke, they were around $1. The land that the houses were also on were selling for around $15. These are not fake numbers. You can find the actual articles. The idea was no one wanted to live there before because there were no jobs. It wasn't the safest place in the world. And therefore, during the housing market crash, things fell even further and people simply wanted to get away. So they were selling their homes and their land for as little as possible just to have something in their pocket. Not a joke. It's what actually took place. The thing that struck me very instantaneously is there were a number of videos, and they were not documentary, simply people, you know, those news things on YouTube where like you have like a commentator and someone follows them with the camera and they're simply like, it looks like news, but also like a documentary, kind of like Vice, somewhere along that level. And they were asking these people, what were they doing? And this guy was standing there on the corner of this street with all the, dilapidated houses, like dilapidated. Like that's not a word, but that's what they looked like. They looked terrible. And he was like, I just bought all of this. And they were like, this house? He said, no, this entire block. I think he bought for several $100s. And they said, why did you do that? He said, because he got word that a company from China and a company, I think from somewhere in the Middle East, had just bought a 20 by 20 block area. And they were like, how much did that cost them? He was like, maybe several thousand. Not hundreds of thousands, around 10,000. And then I saw another video a couple of years later. They were talking about the gentrification of Detroit. And the old areas where those cameramen were 5-6 years later were looking kind of nice. They had built up everything. They had built new stadiums. They had built all these new things. And the takeaway from it being is you tend to buy when prices are at their lowest, because that's how it always works. Everyone in this market right now is expecting a movement higher. We were all and are still expecting a $100,000 Bitcoin. Whether that be this year, whether that be next year, whether that be around the time of the next halving. We know that and have seen before that when halvings happen, or when Bitcoin is being accumulated massively, as it has been over the last couple of years, which is also more confusing as to why prices continue to fall, Bitcoin's price tends to normally do a 15x from where it previously was before. That's just how it's always been. So if we have fallen from 70,000 to 20,000, it is kind of believable that at some point we will see a $200,000 to a $250,000 Bitcoin. We're all expecting prices to go higher. It's just kind of in the air, and this is why we keep getting so much accumulation news. Because no one's really expecting, if we have an Ethereum upgrade, once again, that may never come because these people are taking forever, that could potentially give us 3,000 transactions per second up from the 15 right now, have a higher throughput, have lower transaction fees, have 15,000 more projects being built on top of it. We already got to a $4,000 Ether. It is highly believable that we could go to an $8,000 Ether. That's kind of the idea. So this is why people are buying when prices are lower. I don't know if I needed to explain that. I feel like the answer is no. But I'm pretty sure somebody out there maybe didn't get it. Don't feel ashamed, not making fun of you. It's simply like you need to know why this happens. Because it's when the stock markets fell in 2008, 2009, they made millionaires off of people who threw a couple thousand into the market, not financial advice, because they saw how low that things were. They simply put money into the market because then prices were obliterated, and then prices eventually moved back up because that's what they tend to do. Anyway, that's all the price news. I told you there was a lot. Wait, actually, that's a lie. Hold on. There's actually still a little bit more right here. Yeah, it says U.S. stock market rallies after Fed rate increase. Just going based off of the news that we were talking about before, I was expecting some type of a relief rally. And this is why the cryptocurrency market is also going up. But once again, I'm still expecting another move downward, simply because we have other Fed rate hikes that are going to be happening over the course of this year as well. That's all the price news. Got it. Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, today was really kind of completely insane as far as everything that's been going on. Yeah, my gosh. So much to say all the time. I kind of want to... Now, listen, I don't know if I can do this because, I do have other things to do during the day, and also, ranting is very exhausting for me. I kind of just want to make, a video where I have, one topic on the screen and I just rant about it for as long as I possibly can. Because there's so much happening in this space, and people forget that money makes people do not very nice things. So many people don't get what institutions or what banks would do for another dollar. Not $1 million, for one more dollar in their pocket. We are talking about a market that has hit $1 trillion market cap. And that's before actual regulations in the US and before actual adoption around the world. What happens when this market hits $100 trillion and everyone's in it? You, as an issuer of a stablecoin, you're going to be making bank, like literal bank. What happens if you are a bank who also wants a slice of that pie as well? You're going to do, there's so much happening behind the scenes. And this is why I always pay attention to who's lifting up one coin more than another. All these people who are like, oh, I think Ethereum's going to $9 million because it's the greatest protocol ever. And people talking about Bitcoin in the exact same way. We're also now getting a lot of people talking about Solana and Cardano in these ways. Of course, they have huge amounts of coins for themselves behind the scenes, but there's money that we can't even fathom. We cannot begin to understand exactly how much money is circling around this market. People who are making sure that prices go down on one exchange so that they can buy on another at a much lower price. We'll never know. We will never, ever know. Anyway, that's all the price news. Bit of a doozy, I know. And without further ado, geez Louise, let's move on. Here's one of the, if not the most popular news story of the day besides all the price stuff. Another algorithmic stablecoin appears to be in danger of losing its peg following the UST Terra debacle. Investors are currently in fear of having to face the same fate as Terra's historic fall. USDD is a stablecoin that runs on Tron's blockchain and has a similar algorithm to Terra, but is tethered to Tron. Similar to Terra Luna's mechanism, USDD is an algorithmic stablecoin maintaining its dollar parity by burning Tron. At the time of writing, the stablecoin is trading at 95 cents, which is literally mathematically 5% below its $1 peg. This comes when Tron's price is also suffering from the crisis and it is plummeting. The altcoin is currently trading at around 5 cents, recording over an 80% loss from its high of 9 cents. However, this may not absolutely be attributed to the stablecoin depegging crisis cause, whatever, there's a lot of words. And Justin Sun has been on social media reassuring people that they're going to restore the peg. If you've watched this channel since 2017, write in the comment section which coin I do not like. It's kind of on the screen. It's very obvious. I've thought Tron was garbage from the very beginning. But BUT, despite me not liking this coin or anything else associated with it, I'm going to try and defend them. Doesn't it seem a little weird that another stablecoin has lost its peg? Anyone? How is it that all these coins were just fine for years and years and years? We're doing absolutely peachy. And now for some reason, they're all losing their peg? How could that be possible? Something is happening behind the scenes with some heavy-handed investors, hedge funds, and I personally believe governments and central banks who are trying to destabilize the entirety of the cryptocurrency market, whether that be to get people out of the market for good so that these trillions of dollars can reflow back into gold and also into the traditional stock market, or simply de-incentivize people from wanting to invest in a stablecoin. And when I say investing in a stablecoin, I mean, why would I have my money in the bank when it has either a negative interest rate? Yeah, just because interest rates have risen from the Federal Reserve doesn't mean that your bank is going to give you a higher interest rate necessarily. Why would I want a negative interest rate or a 0.5% interest rate for my money in the bank when I could simply invest in a proof of stake coin that is going to give me 4, 7, 8, 15% over the course of a year, or a stable coin? A lot of people do feel better about having their money in a stable coin because it is stable to the US dollar. There's no real fear of looking to see a 70% drop in price because they're pegged to a stable coin while still getting an 11% return per year that banks once again and governments once again cannot offer. If this had been the only stable coin that this had happened to, I would go, well, clearly something was wrong. If it had only been Terra Luna's coin, I would have gone, well, clearly something was wrong. Do you remember when I came back from my little mini vacation and I said, hey, doesn't it seem a little weird that not only Terra Luna dropped, but also I think it was Tether and Circle coin both lost their peg the exact same day after Luna did? I don't think there's that much fear in this market that people collectively would have gone, no, other stablecoins might be doing the exact same thing, and pulled their money out of Circle and Tether the exact same moment. You could see on the chart, they both lost their peg at the exact same time. I think they went down to, 94, 92 cents. They went back up to $1. Doesn't that seem peculiar to anyone out there? Why is it that the moment after the entire Terra Luna thing happened, governments then began to care about stablecoins and the cryptocurrency space? I just showed you a chart that showed A number of cryptocurrency prices are down by 70 to nearly 90% from their previous all-time high. Why hasn't the government stepped in to protect you from that? Why isn't the government going crazy saying our citizens should not be in something that they lost 90% on? They lost a massive amount of their money. This is absolutely terrible. We need to have proper regulations. But when something that mimics the US dollar falls, or something that mimics the euro or the yen starts collapsing, that's when there's a problem. That's when we need regulations. Doesn't all of this seem a little weird that it's all happening at the exact same time? There was something else that took place. I can't remember. I reheard myself. There was something else that took place in 2020 and 2019 as well. I don't remember what it was. Another event also took place and people were also not paying attention to it. I wholeheartedly, and I mean in my heart of hearts, I truly believe banks, governments, and federal banks are doing something to try and destabilize this entire market. If by September we have 3 other stablecoins lose their peg, that'll be check number 1 for me. If by September, October, November, we have central banks talking about they're going to be launching their own stablecoins imminently because of the other collapses of other stablecoins, red flag. Because remember, we talked about this before. The entire idea of crypto is to get away from the old financial system. Part of the problem is that we are so entangled with the old system now that we fall down when the stock market falls down. We are our own ecosystem. We are not Amazon. We are not Netflix. We are not Google. We are not Apple. They make their money and their prices go up based off of what they do in their own ecosystems. Apple made a new iOS 425 with see-through iPhone and all the other stuff. Their price goes up because of what the company has done. Bitcoin's price used to go up because people were accumulating, because the halving had happened, because we looked at the issuance rate and saw that it dropped, because people began to unplug their machines who were mining and validating Bitcoin, and prices would go down. If they plugged those machines back in and we had a new all-time high for Bitcoin's hash rate, Bitcoin's price went up accordingly. If we heard that Ethereum was having problems in 2017 and 2018 and 2019 with people building NFTs on top of it, because Ethereum has had NFTs before they were called NFTs, and they were clogging the market, and we had an $8 transaction fee on Ethereum, prices would go down accordingly. Every time we got news that we were getting closer to an upgrade for Ethereum, prices would go up accordingly because it was what was happening within their ecosystem. Why is it that we are so tightly, and I mean joined at the hip with the stock market now, regardless of us having we are not stocks. And I don't mean that as far as even price-wise. I mean, we are a completely different ecosystem. These are payment methods that people are using around the world. Remember when I kept on telling you part of the value of Bitcoin is that we are transacting trillions of dollars every single month just from people moving it around on the network, a network that has not failed and has not had a 51% attack. That's a huge portion of the value of Bitcoin. Why would Bitcoin be going down? Because Target missed their earnings. Why would Ethereum be dropping in price? Because Apple didn't meet their mark for sales on iPhones that month. The idea of having derivatives or crypto derivatives or Bitcoin futures or Bitcoin this or something else that's based off of Bitcoin futures, all these things are here to attack our markets. For those of you who, once again, were not here years ago, and for those of you who were here, you remember this. Remember every single Friday, not every other, every single Friday, we had news about the finality or the finishing of a Bitcoin futures contract. And the idea was that futures contract which was based in US dollars and did not ever touch actual physical Bitcoin and had no effect, no physical effect on our market, if that Bitcoin futures contract based in US dollars that had no Bitcoin had people selling off on Thursday, we saw Bitcoin's price also tumble. Why would Bitcoin do that? If people are selling off stock or an ETF or a futures contract that said that prices for real estate in New York's real estate market were going to drop, how many of you think New York's real estate market would actually drop that same exact day? It would not happen. Our market's being so heavily manipulated right now, and no one's talking about it. That's what gets me when we keep hearing this entire bear and bull scenario. And all these websites like, well, the bears have control and we need to get the bulls back. No. These are billionaires who are trying to make sure that they have control over the entire space. How do you do that? You do that by having hundreds of thousands of Bitcoin to yourself. You control the price. You make the money. There's something happening, and I do not know what it is, because the most that we get is the news every single day. But we can try and follow the patterns and go, well, that seems weird. Once again, I do not like Tron. I thought it was useless from the get-go. But the idea of even their stable coin also losing its peg when all the other... What is happening that every single stablecoin is now losing their peg in the last 7.5 weeks when they did not do so over the last 5 years? Why these massive calls for regulation now? Why are some DeFi protocols also collapsing? Why didn't they collapse before? Why is this all happening now? Why is everyone pretending like, oh, well, it's just something that happens? No, something's inherently wrong with what's going on right now in the cryptocurrency space. And I think whenever we see that prices are going back up, people just simply forget the terrible things that are also happening behind the scenes. I do not know anything about this Tron stablecoin except for the stuff that we just went over. I'm going to assume this is also going to depeg. Once again, do not move your money around for me because I do not know. I do not know. I'm simply stating that I think this was a top 10, top 15 stablecoin disappearing. That's why I think we saw the people from Tether scrambling a couple of weeks ago, like 3 weeks ago. Remember when they were showing explicit proof of their reserves and all these other things? I think behind the scenes, people are having meetings and they're like really like inside of a dark tower stroking a hairless cat kind of meetings. Like very Dr. Evil kind of things are going on. But once again, my tinfoil hat is on the side of my ear. So this is very popular news. Popular, unpopular, whichever category you decide to put it into. Tron is falling, as is the stablecoin. I feel like Justin Sun is the kind of person who was told to play ball and was like, nope. And now this is happening. By the middle of July, I'm expecting at least one other or two other stable coins to also have begun to depeg and also begin to fall as well. Because it's just something with an algorithm. You have to, like, it's the same exact thing for the, I told you, I personally don't think that the people from Terra Luna were incentivized in any way to destroy their own project. It doesn't make any sense. You have mimicked the value of the US dollar. The word's not appropriately. Like you did it. Like you succeeded in doing so. This is something that as long as the US dollar would be around, you have that coin to sell to people. Why would you destroy your own project to get away with a couple $1 million? It doesn't make any sense. I assume if this stable coin also falls from the people from Tron, we're going to hear about analysts talking about, well, it was bound to fail. I saw it going down. And then regulators are going to try and step in once again talking about, hey, we have this new thing that's also going on. It's always about money. I'm exhausted. Anyway, that's the Tron news. Just because it is a major part of the news today. But I'm very wary of what's going to be happening because hedge funds know what's going on. And I think if you as a hedge fund can join forces with 5 other hedge funds and a gigantic bank to make a stable coin, you would totally do it regardless of anyone else who's actually standing in your way. Watch videos of stock traders. Watch videos of people who are stock traders or were for large mega companies. Listen to what they have to say. There is no us. It's I'm being paid by that company. I'm going to do whatever I can to make sure that they succeed. We make millions and that everyone else can do as they please. Now imagine a new market that's been around for 13 years that already reached $1 trillion market cap and can potentially go to a $100 trillion market cap. What would a bank, an institution, or a hedge fund do? Everything. Alrighty. Let's move on. As always, geez, I'm exhausted. A very special thank you to my Patreon supporters, GBU Wally, Bubble Mode, How's Life Austin, Auspicious Agile and Blockchain, Jamie Saad, Blockchain Simplified, and let's move on. Empire Queen, Roman Geba, Bitcoin Ben, Arachno Dave, Tony Ambroski, The Dealer's Den, Captain Something in the Z-Way Lay, Mo Barazi, VB Nerd 21, Miguel Grolet, Lauren De Silva, Quoted Biddy, Troy Allgood, Space Case, Nita Miracle, Pat Turnalster, Navarro Williams, Utopia 569, Moonman High, XRP, Martin Steuer, Nostromo, John Sarson, The Animal Reader, A Bibliophobia, Todd Mullis, Adam Graysick, Wise Night Owl, 242 to the World, Bankroll Network, Crypto Artist, Coldy 3D, Setsuna, Richie Rich III, Paxis, Nick Mangialavori, Jim Gardner, Jeremy Fox, Minting Coins, Anytime, what? Minting Coins, Yes to Crypto, Bodie McBoatface, Anytime Fitness, Monk's Corner Staff, Bake Me a Cake, Tigger Machonisa, On Crypto with Lionel, and Crayola Michelle URL. My goodness. Thank you all very, very much for your continued support. Thank you to everyone who has left a like, who has left a comment. Thank you to all the people who are clickers and buyers from affiliate links. I have seen them over the last couple of days. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes. At the moment, Bitcoin is up by 2.8%. Ethereum is up by 4%. It is at $1,165. Binance Coin is up by 5%. Cardano is up by 9%. XRP is up by, if you round up, by 8%. Solana is up by 17%. Polkadot is up by 10. Dogecoin is up by 12. I was thinking of 10 and 12 at the exact same time. Tron is actually up by 25%. They must have repegged. Something must have happened, and they must have figured out a way to do it because 25% is indicative of a win and not like, oh no, things are terrible. Avalanche is up by 11. Shiba Inu is up by 6. Litecoin is up by 10. Polygon is up by 6. Chainlink is up by 7. Uniswap is up by 15 percentile points. Near Protocol is up by 9. Algorand is up by 10. Ethereum Classic is up by 8. Cosmos is up by 9. Decentraland is up by 11. Is anyone buying coins right now? Like, what are people looking at? Or like, is anyone looking into anything? I'm starting to focus on like more metaverse kind of things. Me personally, not is the fourth time I'm saying this video. Not financial advice. It's simply that I feel like a lot of the metaverse everything has taken like a really big beating, if you will. But companies are still on track to release these metaverses and all these other big projects. And I'm sensing that there'll be like an intense resurgence in this market once prices are back up, once NFT prices are back up, once everyone gets really excited once again about these projects. I've been looking at Sandbox, Decentraland, and also ApeCoin the last couple of days as well. Like, you know, should I be buying these coins? A lot of things seem, I think I first got ApeCoin when it was $22, like after the project was released. And I think it's now $3. So it's kind of like, is this a buying opportunity? I don't know. Helium is up by 18%. Theta is up by 18% as well. Elron, eGold, Elron is up by 20%. The Sandbox is up by 10% as well. See? $3.81 is up by 12%. The market, as all markets have slowed down tremendously. But they still have 3 movies and a TV show and figurines coming out. So, Zcash is up by 7. EOS is up. Good job, EOS. EOS is up by 8. Axie Infinity is up by 11. And Aave is up by 11% as well. Not a bad day. It could be a lot worse. Like, literally, it could be absolutely terrible. So it's nice to see some green within the market. But I'm telling you, I'm expecting a really big push down. Personally, September, October is kind of like the rebirth months for me. I don't know, just kind of something floating around in my head. I do hope that you've all enjoyed. I do hope that you all are having a great day, great morning, great afternoon, a great evening, whatever you are, wherever you might be. I'm tired. Hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, supporting, liking, clicking, sitting here, and I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.